Welcome. Good afternoon. This is Faisal Hassan, your Member Provincial Parliament for York South-Western. Welcome, friends and neighbours. Those who have just joining Faisal Hassan NDP, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And welcome each and every one of you. And before I begin, I would like to acknowledge at this time the land that we know as York South-Western is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Ojibwe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuits, and Métis people. Welcome, friends and neighbors, and those who are just joining us. Welcome on Facebook, and just give me a minute quickly. Let me just welcome everyone quickly before I begin. Just give me a minute. Yes, welcome friends and neighbors that are just joining. Also invite folks. Also Instagram. Welcome, those who are just joining Instagram, and also Twitter, and also YouTube, and also Facebook. Welcome. And first and foremost, folks, it's a beautiful day out there, and an excellent day. And I want to welcome you. And also this week we celebrated Ramadan. It was Thursday. Happy Eid al-Fitr, happy Ramadan, happy Eid Mubarak. Folks, I know that following a month of contemplation, Ramadan serves as a powerful lesson to Muslims to thankful and to share with those who are less fortunate. I know the pandemic continues to prevent community gatherings, but I wanted to again wish you Eid Mubarak. May this be a safe and joyous occasion for renewal, reflection, and celebration for you and loved ones. Welcome, folks, and also, folks, welcome Dominica. Welcome, joining me on Instagram is Stephen. Welcome, and Basic Days also has just joined. Welcome. That is important. Of Carlos Souza. Welcome, brother. I want also to thank San Fidelis vaccine clinic this week as well. The organizers, Sandra, and the entire team, and the volunteers that put together the clinic. San Fidelis Catholic Church also that has hosted it in the community, and the community has done a great work in supporting of the vaccination efforts, including Sandra, who organized it, of this, who rightfully identified and said that it takes a village to support the community effort as such. This, we thank again for Sandra for putting that together. Another pop-up there. And also we thank Humber River Hospital for helping that as well. And thank you to San Fidelis Golden Age seniors for continued support of the vaccinations for clinics, as well as volunteering as well. Also, I would like here also to thank the TTC workers, also Women College Hospital, also for the pop-up clinic that's going on at the TTC Mount Dennis Maintenance Center, and there where our TTC division vaccine clinic has also happened this week, Friday and Saturday, and the TTC bus garage at 191 Industry Road. And I want to thank the workers, the organizers, and everyone else who have really contributed to this. And also thank you to Ricardo, thank you to Adnan, and thank you to Alfred, and also everyone else at the union folks there. And welcome folks who are joining Facebook Live, and also Instagram and Twitter, and also YouTube. Quickly, welcome to Carlos Souza, Mursal, Nasra, Katra, and also Nasra. Welcome. Welcome for joining me today, and I welcome you, everyone else, this afternoon. Quickly, and I want just quickly to check here something. Just give me a minute, and also wanted to also make sure that also I also welcome folks as well on Twitter who are joining. Also, folks, this week, especially on Eid Day, I was happy to actually represent the community at the at participating a bill that my colleague from Scarborough Southwest introduced at the legislature, and that was the Filipino Heritage Month. I am proud to vote in favor of Bill 217, proclaiming June as Filipino Heritage Month. To celebrate, honor, and value the Filipino community, enormous contribution to the social fabric of our province. And that's also a bill that was passed on this Thursday, and I'm happy to participate on the debate and happy to support it. Thank you. And now we can celebrate next month our neighbors of the Filipino community. I say to you, salamat. Thank you. And here quickly, I'll take a quick question here from Domenico. Says, I want to ask you, he's coming from Instagram, I want to ask you about our first vaccine shot, if we all will be safer with our first shot we have gotten, if it would be an excellent move to say that we could have a successful summer. Well, Domenico, I always follow the science table, the experts, the doctors, and I think they have said this is the first dose. You will have also a second dose, hopefully, but it's a good thing that you had a first dose and that those also have it. We want also, Domenico, to ask the government to give us a permanent vaccine location in our community. To this day, we don't have it. And it also took us 7 months, to be exact, to have a testing, a permanent testing, a COVID testing location in our community. And this is not right. We need to make sure that we have a permanent vaccine location in our community. We did have a couple of pop-ups. It's great, but now all the pop-ups this week, it's happening outside of the community. The Women's College is having it 640 Lawrence Avenue, and there it's also happening today, tomorrow, and so on. And also the Humber River Hospital is also doing the Downs View, and it's also happening this afternoon and tomorrow as well. All our members of our community could go there for the pop-ups and get their vaccines. That is asking our community to go. I think it's a good idea where people could just have easy access right here at the community. And Hadia Hassan says, Eid Mubarak, Faisal, you're doing a great job in the community. Well, thank you for joining your Saturday, such a beautiful day out there, and thank you. And thank you for joining me this afternoon. And folks, you've heard about the CNE is part of our cultural fabric of Toronto, and we must fight to make sure it doesn't close permanently, because we know many small businesses rely on that, and we need to make sure that we support them, and we also encourage small businesses that has rely on the CNE, that also they don't just wither away or their businesses comes to an end. So basically we need to support, and we urge this government to support them, the community, to support those small businesses, and to also make sure the CNA is there. As you know, folks, I'm the official opposition's youth opportunity critic, and CNE, a lot of young people also rely on jobs there, and it's estimated about 5,000 annually rely on jobs on the CNE, and a lot of young people don't have jobs. So this is also an important that we fight for those jobs for young people that get through the CNE. And that's also important. And I'm concerned about that as well. So we need to make sure we come together and support the CNE. And I know many of you have written to me, and I wanted to let you know that I'm supporting it, I'm advocating it, I'm making sure that CNA stays here for another 145 years or 143 years to make sure that those glory, those great fun folks had there continues. And a lot of young people rely on jobs there. And it's estimated about 5,000 of them annually, and even more, thousands of them get jobs there. And we need that kind of, we can't lose, we can't just let it go, opportunities like that. We need to make sure it's there, and whatever the province can support, definitely we would like to help them. And they asked them, actually, they need support now. And this is also the case. Many small businesses in our community have been asking support. We've been saying, the official opposition, myself and my leader, to put businesses in the front and center, because these are what will also help us come up into the recovery, job creation, and opportunities to make sure that our young people also have experiences in jobs in CNE, which they have been getting there. And definitely I'll be making sure that those young people, where are they going to go? If you can save them there, there will be an opportunity for them to continue that experience at the CNE. And also, the concerns, many of you have written to me about the concerns about outdoor recreation. And that's also, I want to thank community members who have expressed disappointment with lockdown measures restricting outdoor activity. The Ontario Science Table has indicated that many outdoor activities that allow for social distancing come with little risk. They said so. I will continue to urge the government to listen to the experts and provide community members with opportunities to safely enjoy the outdoors. Since we are in summer, people have been locked down into many months now. The benefits to our mental health and well-being are not being also appreciated by this government. And at this moment, we hope to see changes in the coming days to make sure that there are some activities on the outdoors so that a member of our community could come together and enjoy and have fun. Well, Domenico, quickly joining me, Instagram says, Justin Trudeau is saying that we could have a safe summer. What do you think? Well, this is what we are saying, Domenico. I've just talked about the outdoor, allowing the outdoor activities. Well, the science table have suggested that can be safely managed in social distancing. And I think also my colleague from Brampton Centre this week also put a vote. She's going to put a vote on the forcing a vote on reopening Ontario's outdoor amenities. And that's very important. I just want to update you exactly. She also had, and by the way, Brampton Centre, she's also our deputy leader of the official opposition, Sarah Singh, and the deputy leader also will be putting this motion on Monday, calling on the Ford government to safely reopen outdoor amenities in the province immediately. And the Ford government is seeking outdoor amenities. The Ford government is keeping outdoor amenities like credit pinches, baseball, basketball, and tennis courts, skate parks, volleyball nets, and golf courses off limits, despite experts' advice to do the opposite. And my colleague Sarah Singh had this week about this issue a press conference in Brampton. And this is what she said, folks. Parents and their kids have been cooped up at home for months on end. They are frustrated and feeling isolated and at the end of their rope, she said. And Darkford is making this worse by burning outdoor activities and amenities despite expert advice. She continues neatly robbing people of activities that are good for our physical and mental health is cruel and piles on to the struggles people are ensuring as the pandemic drags on. Hey, folks, and many of you have been writing this, and my colleague Sarah Singh will be putting a vote to this on Monday. And Ontario's stay-at-home order has been extended, as you know, until at least June 2nd as a result of Darkford's refusal to do what experts like his own science table recommended. You know that. And focusing on hotspots, giving everyone basic days, closing non-essential workplaces, and encouraging outdoor activities. And these are also things that these Ford governments could have done it before. They haven't. And they haven't been following the science table, and municipal leaders like also the mayor of Brampton, Mississauga Mayor Patrick Brown of Brampton, and Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crumpy have also called for outdoor activities and amenities to be available safely and immediately, which also, you know, many folks have also agreed with them. So there you have it, you know, and Sarah Singh and the official opposition will be putting that to a vote on Monday to make sure that that is also addressed, folks. And welcome, folks. So if you just joined, you are watching Faisal Hassan, NDP. You're joining me, my page, Faisal Hassan, NDP, my Instagram, Faisal Hassan, NDP, and my Twitter, Faisal Hassan, NDP, and my YouTube as well. Welcome. And quickly, Dominic says, Faisal, even if we allow to go out, we need to wear a face mask, yes or no? Absolutely. If it's not possible for social distancing, then you must wear a mask, you know, and that's must. But if there is a social distancing, and then there's a, you know, as the science table recommended, then it makes sense, okay? So that's why I always say that listening to the experts is the way to go, you know? And also this week, my colleague Jill Andrew, MPP for Toronto St. Paul's, also have put a motion at the legislature calling, you know, a ban above guideline rent increases during the COVID-19. And I was also happy to support that motion that my colleague Jill Andrew, MPP, Toronto St. Paul's, put to ban above guideline rent increases during COVID-19. Housing in our community, as you guys know, is in crisis, and the pandemic has amplified the issues faced by tenants. And this motion will bring an end to the above guidelines increases until at least 12 months after the end of the COVID-19, and provide an opportunity for individuals and families to get back on their feet as the recovery starts to take root in the community. I urge the government to support this motion and protect marginalized community that are disproportionately affected by unfair rent increases. And it's a shame that this government doesn't understand what many members of the community is going through, especially those of you who rent. And we have said, this government said that they have frozen rent control on the starting January 2021 to December 2021, but they have done nothing about above guideline above rent increases, and which is also that some landlords have been also created increases on that. And also I have mentioned at the legislature when I participated on the debate that mom and pop, small landlords are doing a fantastic job, and they are really struggling. But what we are talking about is the big corporation landlords, you know, that have been really in the business of just making money, you know, and they have been doing this on the backs of the tenants that are struggling, and they have not been very compassionate about that. So banning in the last 12 months makes sense. And I thank my colleague, MPP Jill Andrew, for having that vision and bringing that bill, and happy to support it. And folks, remember, this Thursday from 6 o'clock to 7:30, Jill Andrew will be joining me. She'll be joining me live again, and we'll broadcast simultaneously on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and also my page as well, Facebook page, so that you can join us. We will also talk to some leaders of the tenant activists. We're also concerned about the above guideline increases, and we want you to join us. If you have any questions for me or my colleague, MPP Jill Andrews, please join us on this Thursday, May 20th at 6 p.m. We'll be able to talk about that motion that Jill Andrew, MPP from Toronto St. Paul's, have put forward. And good afternoon, welcome, folks that I just joined, and another issue, a very important issue in our community, folks, is the childcare. Parents of young children are well aware of the challenges in accessing quality, affordable childcare in Ontario. In fact, Ontario is home to the highest costs for childcare in the country. And we know that this government had 3 years to do something about it. They chose not to. And we know the record of the Liberals under the under Dalton McGuinty, and also Kathleen Wynne. And you know also the Duca and his team were part of that. And they have done nothing about childcare. And when we ran also 2018 election, you know, our childcare, they also opposed. And that's also, that could have been something they could have worked with us to deal with the issue of childcare. So just for the record on that. And we were talking about also, folks, on the housing crisis in our community as well. And, you know, these crises have begun many, many years ago in the 90s, 1996, 1995, to be exact, when John Crotchet was the Prime Minister. The federal government said, we have nothing to do with housing, and they have downloaded to the provincial authorities. And what did the, Mike Harris and Ernie Eves and Dalton McGuinty and Kathleen Wynne do? They downloaded into the municipalities. Our city in Toronto cannot handle housing issues. They are doing their best, but the waiting list is huge for affordable housing, and there haven't been any co-ops being built since 1990. And this is also another issues I want to remind you. These people, they will talk about things. You have to know their record. And housing, because the way it is the responsibility that the Liberal and also conservative governments have neglected it. And now we see speculators and also billionaires taking advantage of the market. And now it has become unaffordable. And many of you, I talked about a couple of weeks ago, actually many weeks ago, about our housing plan. My leader have launched that plan, the Ontario NDP housing plan, which will give an opportunity, everybody, so many options of owning a home, and also making sure that we tackle also the rent issues, rent control, above guideline issues, and also make sure that life is affordable. And housing is number one. A roof, a shelter, a roof over your head is very important. And to that is very, I want you to also check these records, folks. It's very important that they don't just come up and just release things. Ask them, what have you done it when you have the opportunity for the last 15 years? As I said, folks, childcare, it is a big issue in our community, and many parents cannot afford. And it has been an issue for many, many years. In fact, Ontario is home to highest costs for childcare in the country. Previous governments have promised to address these problems, including the Liberals and the Conservatives, reverting to privatization and fee increases to support an and underfunded a system. This pandemic has highlighted the importance of this issue and the need to work urgently with Ottawa to implement $10 universal high quality non-for-profit care, child care, which is very important. A plan that puts our children and talented early childhood educators front and center is the key, and definitely an NDP government will put that to the front and center. As a member of provincial parliament, I will continue to make sure life is affordable, folks, and this neglect comes to an end. The last 15 years and the last 3 years at the moment, from bad to worse, folks, and that's the fact. And once again, those who are joining me through YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and also Facebook, welcome. You're joining Faisal Hassan, NDP. You're a member of provincial parliament for York Southwestern. Also, if you want to reach me and contact me for any other issues, you can also reach me at my constituency office at 416-243-7984. Or you can write to me at Faisal Hassan co@ndp.on.ca. And thank you, folks, that have just joined. Also an issue that has affected in our community, and many of you have talked to me about, it's the issue of auto insurance. Auto insurance is very important, folks, and we know that many of you have been targeted. You've been targeted because of where you live, because of your postal code, and that has nothing to do with your driving record, the car you drive, and this has been a problem for many, many years in this province. As you know, my colleague Kevin Yard, who is from Brampton North, is now our auto insurance critic, and he's been fighting on this issue to make sure that you get relief, you get also support in this regard. And I have, folks, put this week also a motion forward at the legislature, and the issue of postal code discrimination has unfairly impacted our community for too long. So my motion, it states, and I'll read to you, that in the opinion of the House, the Ford government should take steps to reduce the high costs of auto insurance in the Greater Toronto area by ending postal code discrimination and mandating a COVID-19 rebate and reduction in the rates to reflect data on lower automobile usage and lower rates of collisions during the pandemic. It's very crucial. Many of our cars are just parked on driveways and garages, and they're sitting there. Many of you are at home, not driving, but still you're paying high premium rates. And where is the relief? So many of you have not gotten those reliefs. I haven't gotten, every year my insurance goes up continuously, and that's also the same as you guys and every member of our community. And I want to address that. And I put this motion, folks, this week to fight on this. And I know also my former colleagues who also have been fighting with this. Jagmeet Singh was one of them. And the Liberals haven't implemented what they have agreed many years ago. And also Gurtan Singh, also Brampton East has also put a bill last couple of years ago. And I've also debated on behalf of our community, making sure that our voices in York Southwestern is heard loud and clear, and that we end a postal code discrimination. Also, my colleague from the north of our riding, Humber River, Black Creek, has also put a bill on that as well, which I've also debated on that, and that was also very important. And also Kevin Yard, also the auto insurance critic for the official opposition, have also put a motion, which I've also debated, to bring that concern for our community. I have been fighting on that. We've created petition about it as well. to address this issue. So I just want to let you know what I have been doing on this file. And I know that many of you are struggling with this, and we want to send a strong message to Ford conservatives that that we want relief now, because this shows that there is no reason that these insurance companies to increase our premiums, and that we're paying this high premiums simply because of where we live. Also, there has been reports about the Toronto police and other police jurisdictions, the reduction of auto accidents as well. It said 50% is down. And that's also another evidence to make it 50% relief for the drivers, that are relying on cars to go to work or to use for personal reasons. So that's why we need to make sure that is addressed, folks. Quickly, Domenico just also had a comment. Quickly, I'll read him briefly. And he says, the only reason I have asked you about the summer and the face masks is because people will not all wear their face masks. Another reason is that Dark Ford government will say something. Exactly, you're right. And I think it's very important, Domenico, that people wear their masks. It's very important. You're protecting your neighbor, you're protecting yourself. And there have been reports, folks, that have not been wearing their mask, and in crowded areas. It's important that you do, because that saves you and the rest of your neighbors and friends and so forth. So I agree with you. It's very important. And this government hasn't been really addressing the pandemic appropriately. Haven't been listening to the science table and so on. So, and also on Facebook, Frank just joined and says insurance companies are licensing licenses to print money with permission of the Ontario government. They have the power to halt the gorging. Exactly. This gorging has to come to an end. And I think what we are asking them is fairness. And I think they too want fairness. I understand, because I've met many of them of this industry. I've met them every year when they come to the legislature, and they have been also looking for fairness. Where is your common sense then also to give drivers that fairness? It's very important that now the drivers get that fairness, since they have been really struggling, especially communities like ours here that has not gotten any relief for so many years. And because of our postal codes, we have been targeted because we have been paying higher premiums rates on auto insurance. And I think you're right. This is also, as you said, insurance companies are licenses to print money with permission of the Ontario government. And I think that summarizes it. And if the drivers are required to have a license to drive, and they're required to have an auto insurance with that, along with the license, then I think it makes sense that government makes the right decisions of fairness in that regard. And as you're a member of provincial parliament, I have been raising these issues since I've been elected, and I'll continue to do so to make sure. And this, also my motion that I tabled also addresses exactly that. Okay, so thank you for that, and welcome, folks. Thank you. Also, this week, folks, was a National Nursing Week. For the second year in a row, these heroes will be celebrating their accomplishments with pride from the front lines of the pandemic. We have all witnessed their bravery and sacrifice. I'm so thankful to them for all the work they have done to save lives and keep communities safe. Our community especially, we are home to frontline workers, BSWs, nurses, and they have been really doing a fantastic job. And I want, again, to thank them for that contribution and the sacrifice they've made in this difficult time on behalf of our community, and also for their bravery for really doing that so much sacrifice. And I'm so thankful to them for all the work they have done to save lives and keep communities safe. I am also honored to represent a community that is home to many nurses and frontline healthcare workers. To York Southwestern nurses, know that our community has seen and witnessed your strength, and it won't be forgotten. You have always been admired for your professionalism and care, but your contributions during this pandemic have elevated the profession of nursing to a level of reverence. And there are many ways we can express our appreciation for the nurses in our lives and our community. The most impactful way to support nurses is to respect public health guidelines, do our part to limit community spread. And that's exactly what Domenico is talking about. You know, if we stay home, maintain social distancing, and get vaccinated when our turn comes, we can lower the risk to our healthcare system and keep nurses safe as well. As you are a member of provincial parliament, I am eager to support the profession by opposing measures like Bill 124 that targets our nurses, which was passed by this government and limits their rights to collective bargaining. This is no way to show nurses that we have their backs. And this is also a shameful by this government, that what they called frontline workers heroes are also targeted measures like Bill 124. The government announced an extension of the stay-at-home order this week. Unfortunately, the choices of this government have brought us to this point. I know the frustration that the people have been experiencing with never-ending lockdown again and again. I remain hopeful that we can reach the end of the pandemic. If we need the advice, the experts like those, if we heed the advice of the experts like those on the Ontario Science Table, if we listen to them, you know, nurses and healthcare professionals will tell you there are no shortcuts to defeating this virus, and that our collective efforts are the only way to keep our community safe. I'm happy to heed their advice and support them now and into the future. Well, thank you to nurses, and thank you again for the wonderful job you are doing on behalf of all of us. And York Southwestern thanks you for your contribution. Welcome Salman, and welcome Hanu as well, and also welcome folks. You are joining Faisal Hassan. You are member of provincial parliament every Saturday from 3 to 4 to hear your concerns and answer some of your questions. You're joining me Instagram and Faisal Hassan NDP, Twitter Faisal Hassan NDP, and also YouTube, and also Instagram. So I'll just quickly check if there's any messages or concerns that people might raise quickly here, and if there's any concerns or questions they might have. So there we will basically include their comments as well for that. I know it's a beautiful day out there. It's a Saturday, and I know that you just want to have a walk to the park to relax a bit, and to also take advantage of the beautiful summer sun out there, which is also a great. But thank you for joining me. Well, folks, this week I returned to Queen's Park and to resume the legislative duties, and my colleagues and I continue to discuss the devastating report from the Long-Term Care Commission that was released last week. Last week. The understaffed chaos, the inhumane conditions highlighted in the report still resonate as we move to assure that this never happens in our province again. I'm very thankful to the witnesses who stepped forward to testify during the commission and share their experiences. The testimony was heart-wrenching and must have seemed very difficult to reflect on so soon after the tragedy we experienced in our province. It was also very necessary. The report was clear about the mistakes and missed opportunities. It is left to us to act now and make the necessary changes to ensure that this never happens again in our province, and that we fixed long-term care and home care once for all. And as you know, folks, I've also discussed with you and talked about a couple of weeks ago our plan and long-term care and home care plan. And as you know, my leader has also announced that a couple of weeks ago. You can actually check all these plans OntarioNDP.ca. And we want to make sure that we remove the profit out of the long-term care because there's no money to make on the backs of our seniors. The underfunded and neglect system we have today is a direct result of privatization and cuts instituted by governments for decades. But the choices of Premier Ford exacerbated the decline we are seeing in senior care. They have removed independent inspections in homes, left private facilities to inspect themselves. According to the report, when the pandemic hit, the government had no plan to protect elders in long-term care, resulting in the devastation that is now all too familiar. The Premier's promised iron ring never materialized when the second wave struck, and we still see personal support workers working off their feet without assurances for a livable wage. I know we can do better. Sorrow is not enough. The seniors and affected families members deserve accountability and a plan that prevents a tragedy like this from happening in the future. And we have called for, as you know, an independent seniors advocate with the government to monitor issues that concern seniors, like long-term care. My colleague from Kitchener Centre put that bill forward, and it's very important to have that independent seniors advocate, to advocate for them within the government, to monitor issues that concerns about seniors. Like the long-term care and any other issues. We know that many seniors in our community are living in a fixed income, and they have been having a lot of challenges. And this is the time we need to take care of our seniors, to provide them at least a minimum of 4.5 hours of daily care and service for seniors. And that's very important. We also want to help seniors stay in their homes as long as possible and support independent living. We need to undo the privatization of long-term care homes and remove the incentives to cut corners on caring for our elders. We need more long-term care homes that are small enough to allow for intimate communities. We need to finally honor the profession of personal support workers by paying them decent living wages and supporting them with additional staff to deliver on a minimum of 4 hours of hands-on care. No more excuses, folks. We can do it. We can do it, and we must do it to help our seniors. And that we owe it to them to make sure that what happened, what the military witnessed, and the neglect that go on. And this is also, folks, it's a continuation of consecutive governments. Liberals and the Conservatives have neglected this file, and we will do it right. An NDP government will put it right. And if you want our plan, you can actually read OntarioNDP.ca. Okay, or you can just Google Ontario NDP long-term care home care plan, and there you will have it. Okay, and also, folks, next week, my colleague MPP Jill Andrew will be joining me, and we are talking about her motion that she did sponsor this week at the legislature about the above guidelines ban for 12 months at least, to make sure that we freeze above guideline increases. And we've seen that, folks, in our community, landlords using that to increase rent. And this should be part of the maintenance. It should be part of the responsibility of the landlord to look after the building. you know. And why would you create another system where you allow the landlords to increase rent in different ways, like above guideline increases? You have the annual increases, and to plus that, no one is going to be able to afford. And how much profit that these corporations want. I'm not talking about mom and pop landlords that also have mortgages that they're worried about supporting families. These ones, small mom and pop, they're doing a fantastic. I'm talking about big corporations that are simply greedy and continuously wanting every year annual increases plus above guideline increases as well. And that was also an excellent motion that my colleague MPP Jill Andrew brought and representing and working very hard for the people of Toronto St. Paul's. And we're going to have her next week to join me and the activist of the of our community, those who are fighting on your behalf on these issues that affects you for renters. And I'm looking forward to those discussions. You can join us also to also add your comments. You can add your comments. You can also ask us questions, and that way we'll be able to also carry on live on Twitter, Facebook, and also Instagram and YouTube, so that we'll be able to make sure that we hear your concerns. And I know many of you have written about this, many of you have spoken to me about this issue, and that also many of you have called saying that why the increases is happening since the provincial government have also frozen rent this year, January 2021 to December 2021. So, but they haven't tackled the above guidelines increases, even though they have to go to the tenant and landlord board to request those increases, but they are basically granted each time easily. And that's also another problem. By this motion would have done to help folks to get into this recovery and coming out of the pandemic, so that we ban for 12 months is above rent increase guidelines. And that's another issue that's contentious for the tenants in our community. So join us then on Thursday. It will be on Thursday, May 20th. We'll start at 6 o'clock until 7:30. So we'll have about 90 minutes to talk about that issue, and Jill Andrew will be joining us. So just an announcement, just to make sure before Saturday, that's also another event that we're doing. Also, folks, still I'm fighting to update you with the vaccine facility to make sure that we have a permanent vaccine facility in our community. To this day, we don't have it. And if you are a small business and that you want to also have a pop-up in your business, please contact me so that we can help you advocate, get to you a pop-up right there at your workplace. And there are also, we want to work with the minister in this regard to make sure you got those vaccines with no cost to you. Okay, we don't want our small businesses paying money to participate and help the workers get their vaccines. So you can write to me fhassan-co@ndp.on.ca. If you are having small mid-sized company that you have workers that cannot take time off to get their vaccines, and it makes sense, they could actually get it while they're at work. It will take just 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and that can be done. And you have this space that can be also facilitated in this. I would be happy to connect to make sure that I facilitate that happens in your workplace right away. Okay, so contact me, and you can also reach me at 416-243-7984. And quickly, folks, on the on Instagram, just commenting a couple of things I just want to read. Zachariah says, I'm trying to work for you, sir. I'm a student of political science in university. Well, thank you. And perhaps you can write to me, fhassan-co@ndp.on.ca. You can leave me a phone message at 416-243-7984. Okay? So we can connect. Again, he gives give me a job, sir, and so forth. Well, thank you very much. As you know, I'm not hiring at the moment, so I don't have any available position. So just let you know about that. Welcome, Canadian Gambian youth. They're doing a fantastic job. I know that they have been really helping the pandemic, delivering food, and also Eid Mubarak, folks. Eid Mubarak. I know, and welcome. Okay, and happy to connect again. Perhaps I can join you next time. Canadian Gambian youth folks. Thank you. Says actually they say thanks, Faisal, and Eid Mubarak. I say back to you, Eid Mubarak, and thank you for joining me Instagram, folks. Those who are also joining me YouTube, welcome and thank you for joining me this afternoon, and also Twitter and Facebook as well. And folks, I'm just coming to close to that end. And folks says Canadian Gambian youth says you're doing a great job. Yes, no problem. Definitely, we will connect. And Zakia says Eid Mubarak, and Eid Mubarak to you as well. Well, thank you. And folks, this week I know that there was many celebrations and also activities that we have celebrated. One of the highlights of the week was the Eid Mubarak, the end of Ramadan, and that was great. Ramadan came to an end, and it was really a beautiful weather, and that was excellent. Really, it was fun, and thank you for your good wishes, and also to you folks who have been fasting and celebrating Ramadan. Eid Mubarak again to you. Okay, and also we celebrated the week about the Nurses Week as well, and we know the nurses, many frontline workers in our community here also live in York, South Boston, and again we want to thank them for their contribution as well, and that was excellent. Yeah. And many of you also have written to me about many issues, as a matter of fact. And one of the important issues is this, what I talked about, the motion that my colleague from Brampton Centre is going to do on Saturday, asking the government to allow safely, to allow communities to reopen amenities, such as the tennis courts, the golf courts, and places where people could play and safely exercise, and also enjoy the beautiful community. And Gambian Canadian youth says, "Are you hiring?" No, I'm not. I'm not hiring. And that's also the issue is a lot of young people are also looking for jobs, and also remember also the CNA also is also a source of employment for many young people. I was told over 5,000 young people annually work there, and that's a major employment, one of the major employment for young people, CNE. And if CNE comes to an end, then those young people will lose those jobs. And that's why we need to save it. It's also a cultural fabric of Toronto as well. It is a hub that people come to because of the CNA. And many people around the world come to because also it brings money. It generates tourism. Those folks come, they stay in the hotels, they buy food, it helps our small businesses, and it makes sense to support those kinds of institutions in our community. Definitely, we must save it, and the official opposition will pressure this government to act. And also, we know that many small businesses also rely on the CNE as well. So that means also those businesses also will wither away. And we don't want, already our small businesses are struggling. They had suffered enough because of the pandemic. And also with the government small business support grant also have been challenging to the community as well. And that's also, many of you have contacted me that you qualify, but it's taking a long time. Sometimes they reject. Well, you already qualify, you meet all the requirements, and we have been trying to bring your concerns to the government to correct their mistakes. And if you have any concerns, any problems with those programs, please write to me, fhassan-co@ndp.on.ca. I know also many parents, to this day, they haven't gotten the support for their children. That support money that the Ministry of Education has announced. Many families have written to us, they haven't received it to this day. And if you are also having that kind of a problem as well, please write to me, Faisal Hassan, -co@ndp.on.ca. Here, Frank quickly says a comment and says, since 2018, Faisal has fought for us in York Southwestern on many issues ranging from tenants, long-term care, ODSP, Ontario Works, labor issues, and has a long history fighting for our community since he took office. And well, you can read, folks, that continuously. And thank you to Frank there. And Degan, welcome. And I think, folks, the entire official opposition is fighting and holding this government accountable. But holding them accountable is not enough. What we need is to replace them in the next election, to form an NDP government that can address the concerns and the failures of the last 15 years and the last 3 years, which is from bad to worse. And we need to do it better, folks. And we can do better. Join us. You can also connect with me, Faisal Hassan NDP, Twitter, Facebook, and also subscribe my YouTube, so you get instant updates about videos that we are releasing about while I'm in the legislature or outside the legislature. Whatever I'm saying, you will get instantly right away. Subscribe to YouTube. You can join me also my Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP, and my YouTube too, and also my page, like my page as well, Faisal Hassan NDP as well. Well, thank you, folks. And those who have joined, I want to thank you for your time, for taking your time to join this afternoon. I want to thank Domenico for actually, for asking a question, comments as well. I want to thank Frank as well for his comments. And also I want to thank Zaid. I want to thank also the Canadian Gambian youth who have also joined. And I want to mention the Canadian Gambian youth. They are also located right here in our community. And they're doing a fantastic job. I have visited many of their festivities and activities, and folks, they really know how to have a great time as well. And I joined them with the music, with the food, and with the fun there. And thank you. I cannot wait to join you again, when all these things comes to an end. And hopefully we will get out of this quickly so we can physically meet again, and enjoy that beautiful food and music, and also conversations there as well. But I also say to you, thank you for the excellent job you're doing in the community, and thank you to everyone, folks. And if you want to connect me, to even just to talk to me, to share anything you want to share with me, you can join Faisal Hassan NDP. Also, you can contact me, my office 416-243-7984. And also, you can write to me, fhassan -co@ndp.on.ca. And And also my office is located 1965 Western Road, and you know where that is. Now the office is not open, but you can actually, we're still working by appointment. We can also work also through the phone and emails. So please connect us if you have any issues. And my time come to an end now. So I would like to thank you again and looking forward to meeting you again next Saturday, the same time at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And you can join me my YouTube, my Twitter, my Instagram, and also my page, Faisal Hassan MDP. Until then, folks, thank you and goodbye.